How's it going, everybody? Thank you all very much for watching. I always appreciate you. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. Welcome to another classic movie review. In continuation with our celebration of Black History Month and talking about black-led films all month long, right now I am talking about a little independent comedy film from 1987, starring, co-written, produced, and directed by Robert Townsend, a semi-autobiographical comedy called Hollywood Shuffle. This movie has a lot of humor and a lot of heart. It also feels very sincere in the way it tells this story, with Robert Townsend playing the role of Bobby Taylor, a struggling young guy that's trying to make it in the world of acting. And at the very beginning of the film, we hear him trying to recite some lines. He's practicing for an audition. He's going up for the part of Jimmy in a movie called Jive Time, Jimmy's Revenge. He has people in his life that support him, his mother, his younger brother that admires him. His grandmother supports him, but she's not very happy with the stereotype kind of parts that he's trying to go up for. She's played by Helen Martin. She was in Don't Be a Menace to Society While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood. She was the breakdancing grandma in that. And she's also from 227, a great classic sitcom that ran from 1985 to 1990. Besides those that are in Bobby's life that are supportive of his dreams, there are those that aren't very supportive, people like his coworkers at his job where he works at a place called Winky Dinky Dog. His coworkers are always telling him he needs to drop that acting thing and just focus on work. His boss, played by John Witherspoon as Mr. Jones, he plays Mr. Jones in another very funny movie also. Throughout the course of the film, Bobby frequently daydreams, and every time that happens, we get a little glimpse into his mind about the kind of parts he'd like to play and the kind of movies he'd like to be in, and also his anxieties and his worries and fears and not being black enough or being too black. At one point in the film, he has a nightmare because he's worried that the people that he's going to audition for want an Eddie Murphy type, and we get to see a little Eddie Murphy impersonation for a second there by Robert Townsend. It's actually pretty good. And, you know, people show up to this thing trying to look like Eddie Murphy. The dream sequences in this movie are definitely my favorite parts of the movie. One of my favorite ones is where Bobby and his friends are playing basketball and they're just sitting down on the ground resting, and they're talking about movies and critics and how critics don't know anything, and they mention Siskel and Ebert, not by name, but it's obviously Siskel and Ebert they're talking about because they mentioned the bald guy and the fat guy with the glasses. And then it goes into kind of a Siskel and Ebert spoof called Sneaking Into the Movies. They kind of do a spoof of Dirty Harry. It's called Dirty Larry. They have an Indiana Jones segment where it's called Chicago Jones. And you can tell that they had a small budget on this movie because you see a lot of the same actors playing a lot of these different roles in this movie. Another one that I really like that really stands out to me is one where Bobby is sitting down on the couch at home with his girlfriend and his grandma, and they're watching an old black and white detective movie. And then Bobby goes into daydream mode where he is the detective in the movie, and he has to solve the case of this woman that walks in that wants her missing brother found or something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but Keenen Ivory Wayans is hilarious in this one because he plays a guy called Jerry Curl who has this really, really wet looking hair he keeps spraying with activator. There's one part where Bobby gets very discouraged because his Winky Dinky Dog coworkers keep telling him that he's not going to make it and he should just give it up. And his uncle is kind of a cautionary tale because his uncle is a former singer that tried to make it in show business but I guess didn't, and now he is a barber. And I really like the scene where Bobby goes to see his uncle, and his uncle has nothing but encouragement for him, nothing but positive words to say, and it's the push that Bobby really needs at that moment. Another one of the little vignettes in this movie to look out for when it comes to the daydreams is one where it starts out like a slave mandingo movie, and then all of a sudden we realize that it's something called Black Acting School, where Robert Townsend at first is acting like he's a butler, and then his voice changes and all of a sudden he has a British accent, and he's like a spokesperson for this black acting school where all kinds of actors go to learn how to act for certain parts, movie muggers, pimps, slaves, and all kinds of things that are very, very offensive. But the way it's done, it's supposed to be satirical. It's supposed to be making fun of Hollywood and the way Hollywood at the time saw black people in movies. During the end credits, you see them all singing and dancing, and the guy that played the writer of the Jive Time Jimmy's Revenge, he's usually in the room whenever Bobby's auditioning for Jimmy. One of his lines, I can't remember exactly what it is verbatim, but I think one of the lyrics in that song that he says is, "Don't judge me, I only know about black people from movies and television." And I'm pretty sure that was true for a lot of people that were writing and coming up with stories back in the day. And even today, I'm sure a lot of people just kind of base their own judgment of what they see and hear on TV, which, yeah, it's pretty sad, but I like that somebody actually put this in a film because it makes other people aware of that kind of thing. Robert Townsend did a very good job in this movie, and I think it's a shame his career didn't take off because I think he makes a very good leading man, and as a director, he's very good at crafting a story. I think it's really cool. After this, a couple years later, he was in The Mighty Quinn with Denzel Washington as a supporting character, so that must have been a thrill for him. But then a couple years later, in '91, he directed The Five Heartbeats, which is a very good movie, good drama. And then a couple years after that, he directed and starred in Meteor Man. And then in '95, from '99, he was in The Parenthood sitcom that ran for a few years. And so, the guy had a pretty good run. But I do think that Hollywood Shuffle will always be what I remember him for. Be sure to look out for Keenen Ivory Wayans and his brother Damon in this movie, especially in the black and white segment where Keenen Ivory Wayans plays Jerry Curl. That's a hilarious, hilarious part. And of course, John Witherspoon, the late John Witherspoon, he is very much missed, and it's always just really cool. It's always a treat to see him in something because whenever he pops in the movie, he always steals the show. And yeah, Hollywood Shuffle, 3.5 stars. I'm sure you can find this on streaming, but if you know me, you know I'm a hard copy kind of guy, and I like to have my DVD or Blu-ray on hand. And so here is my copy of Hollywood Shuffle on DVD. As you can see there, Mr. Robert Townsend looking very Hollywood there in those shades. And yeah, a very fun, cool little independent comedy from 1987. I highly recommend Hollywood Shuffle. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's good for a few laughs. Thank you all very much for watching this classic movie review. If you're into movies, if you're into the classics, if you're into this kind of thing, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications on more movie reviews from me coming very soon. If you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for your support. It's much appreciated. And don't forget to comment, share, like, always helps out the channel. And please look out for the next classic movie review coming very soon. Until then, please take care of each other, be safe, and God bless.